Blessings everyone, and welcome to my channel. My name is Cassandra and you are watching Spotless Mind Tarot on YouTube. So today, as you can see, I am dressed up because we are in the month of October, the month of Halloween, and I decided to dress up as a witch because why not? It would be fun to look like a witch while I give you tarot readings. With all that said, today I will be pulling tarot cards for each of the 12 zodiac signs in order to receive insights into the Libra New Moon, which occurs on October 21st, 2025 at 28 degrees and 22 minutes. In this reading, we will come to see how the archetypal energies of this particular moon cycle will affect you for the next 6 months. The 6-month cycle will build up to the Libra full moon, which takes place on April 1st, 2026 at 13 degrees and 4 minutes. I'll be using the Albano-Waite Tarot deck and the Urban Crow Oracle for these readings. As always, watch for your rising, moon, and sun sign to get the most out of these readings. If you're not familiar with astrology, then the sign that you're born under according to your birthday is good enough. Timestamps for each of the zodiac signs are below in the description. If you would like to support my channel, then please like, comment, and subscribe. Be sure to tap the notifications bell so you can receive notifications whenever I upload a new video. You can also find me on Instagram and Twitter, and if you would like to book a private tarot reading with me, you may do so through my Etsy shop. I also accept tips and donations through PayPal, Venmo, and Buy Me a Coffee. All information can be found below in the description. So for Aries rising, moon, or sun, with Aries on the ascendant, this new moon will be placed in your 7th house of relationships, partnerships, connection, integration, union, diplomacy, and contracts. So to start your reading, we have the Queen of Swords, and this is represented by Libra. Not only that, but this new moon is opposing anything you have in the sign of Aries, especially if it's at or around 22 degrees of Aries. And so you guys are really going to feel this, all right? And if this is in your 7th house, then this has a lot to do with your connections to people and your one-on-one interactions. And so relationships are at the forefront here. And I think it has a lot to do with your place in the relationship and like what you're giving and what you're providing without thinking too much about what the other person has to offer. And so for those of you who are single, perhaps you are like courting somebody or basically like showing someone else what you have to offer. This could also go in business or if you're like job hunting or anything like that. Even if you're married, you know, this still can apply in just any relationships that you are encountering at this time, especially around the new moon. There seems to be something highlighted within that connection between you two. And what I feel is being highlighted is like, what are you offering them? Okay, what are you offering your business partner, your husband, your wife, this person you want to get into a relationship? Like, what is it that you have to give, at least in this moment, okay? And so because we're dealing with the Libra New Moon, there's a lot of mental activity. There could even just be a lot of information coming in and out really quick. Maybe you're being a bit of like an airhead too, you know, you might be a little spaced out a little bit. And at the same time, I think this is an opportunity to really dive deep into your mind and the way you are processing information, the way you are thinking about things, and as well as like what I keep mentioning about like what do you have to offer people. I think there's a lot to go over here and a lot to like maybe admit to yourself. Being honest might not win you a lot of people, but at least you can keep your dignity, and at least, you know, you don't have to remember the lies you say or, you know, try to fulfill things that are just, you know, like there's nothing wrong with putting high standards on things, but if you got to be realistic at some point, right? Especially when you're dealing with other people, like you don't want to, of course you want to give other people everything you can, you know, of course you want to give your husband or your wife the world, but can you? Like, can you really? Like, what you have to offer is unique in of itself. And so I think that's something to recognize. And I think that's something that's being brought up at this time, is to, really look within and really like think about what it is you have and what it is you can give. Okay. Yeah, I mean, I'm sorry, I'm really struggling here, but that's basically the gist of it. So, with all that said, I think there's a lot to reconsider. Again, there's a lot of like having to admit the reality of things and not, like you got to be logical within romance, because, if it's just all fairy tales, then it's not, there's no foundation, basically. Of course, a lot of us want romance, especially me. Like, I'm a Pisces moon, so I definitely want fantasy. But, I mean, look at me, I'm dressed as a witch right now. But, at the same time, I am very realistic, and maybe that has a lot to do with like my Venus in the second house. I'm able to like ground that energy, even though it's in Scorpio. But I understand that like you have to be logical about the people you love. And of course we all like fall into that trap of like the fantasy of what we feel in love. But at the same time, at some point you do got to pull yourself out. Okay. And I'm a Libra rising, so maybe that is like good advice overall. Like you gotta weigh both sides. It's totally cool to have both romance and something more serious, or something more like rooted in reality. Okay, so yeah, that's like basically what I'm getting from this card. So let's pull another. All right, so the second card we have is the Eight of Wands. That's really interesting. So there's a lot of fast movement happening. Oh, at the bottom of the deck we have the Tower, and underneath that it's the Sun. And then I'm not going to even say what's underneath that, but no worries. I think what really, oh, well, okay, it gets better after that. Okay, there's like a rewiring here. And again, it is about like being honest with people and like almost like wearing your heart on your sleeve. And so it's like what you show is like what you have to offer. And yeah, you might lose some people because of that, because maybe, I don't know, like there's so many reasons why somebody would just walk away from that. The thing about the Tower is it's like it's making things more real for you. Okay, it's kind of like a wake-up call, right? It's kind of like also being called out on your bullshit. Okay, so maybe there's something you've said in the past, maybe there's some things you've promised to people and you haven't been able to show up for it. And so I think there could be some relationships that do come to an end. Okay, so have no fear, because I think it's all for the better. I mean, again, it's all for what's real and not what is fantasy, not what is pretend, or, like, yeah, like there's just you or maybe somebody else, but I feel like it's on your part. Okay, it's like maybe you overpromised, and I think it came from a place of good though. Like I think it's like it's what you wanted to do for this other person, and it's what you had planned on doing, but for whatever reason you just couldn't perform, you couldn't meet those expectations. And so again, like you just got to get real with yourself, and you got to get real with other people. If that's the case, maybe you got to approach somebody and be like, hey, like I said I was going to do this and I really, really wanted to, but unfortunately I cannot. And this new moon is squaring Pluto and Jupiter, of course. And so, yeah, it's difficult. It's, there's a sextile to Saturn and Neptune, Uranus as well. Okay, and so I think that's good, because that's the Sun card underneath the Tower. Okay, the square is like Pluto and Jupiter, and then the sextile is, to Saturn and Neptune and Uranus. And the sextile to Saturn is cool because that's what I was speaking about. It's how like, you kind of got to restructure. I didn't say it, but like you got to restructure and like kind of reformat the way you perceive relationships. But I think it's really like your place in relationships, like, because that's got to be tough having Libra on the 7th. I mean, I have it on my Ascendant, so that's crazy, right? But like on the 7th house, it's like, Libra wants to give and like provide and, you know, make things equal. And, you know, you can't always do that. And sometimes you're going to put other people before yourself, especially when you're in a relationship. Okay. And so, but I think the relationship is what helps you do all those things in the first place as an Aries, who is a bit more focused on the self and your identity and like what you want to achieve in life. Okay, so I hope this all made sense, because I feel like I'm a little all over the place, but I'm going to end that here. And so let's go ahead and pull an oracle card. Okay, so for you guys, we actually got 2 oracle cards. So the first one is abundance. Okay. The second one is territory. So number 1 and number 49. Abundance, territory. Right, abundance. The crows on one side of the bay know that the cannery is a source for a steady and easy meal, making gathering food an effortless task, and as a result, they spend their days enjoying their location. However, the crows who reside on the other side of the bay, where food is scarce, find searching for food much more difficult, and as a result, much of their days are spent focused on survival. The crows who do not live on the cannery side of the bay are unaware that an easy food source exists just a short distance away, nor do they have the time or energy to waste exploring areas farther away. Abundance brings a reminder that there is a place where you too will find a myriad of possibilities. Focus your energy and attention on not what you lack, but what you know is out there waiting for you. Let your intuition be your guide. Abundance may appear if you need a reminder that from your current position, you might not see what is out there waiting for you. Of course, most of the time, this card represents a positive outcome. However, because these crows can be a bit cheeky, the meaning could very well indicate an abundance of something less favorable, such as an abundance of water in your basement. So that's abundance. Now let's go to territories. 49, territory. Crows are very territorial. They have distinct groups and they will not hang out too long on a block that is not theirs. Territory indicates that someone may be entering your space uninvited, or that you may be the one who is the intruder. This card may also ask if you are protecting something out of concern, that someone may be trying to step on your toes or take over something you cherish. When territory appears in a reading, you may need to consider what boundaries are in place or if they are needed. Would the situation benefit from establishing some ground rules? Territory may also appear if you need to carve out some space for yourself, whether that be within your home or in the form of time to be alone. You may need to define an area that is solely yours and yours alone. So that's what I got for you guys. Thank you for watching, Aries. I wish you all the best. Taurus, rising moon or sun. With Taurus on the ascendant, this new moon will be placed in your 6th house of daily routine, physical health, habits, work ethics, services, and performance and skills. So for you guys, we have the Hanged Man. And for some reason, I feel like you guys have like a whole new perspective on the world, on just like reality in general. And I find that quite interesting. I think it has a lot to do with the Virgo new moon. Actually, we had 2 Virgo new moons recently, and so that seemed to have done a number on you. Okay, both of those had occurred in your 5th house. I feel in some sense you have been radicalized in the area of the 5th house, okay? Especially when it comes to your creativity with your self-expression and like the way you put yourself out there. I feel like those 2 new moons being in that house have really like shifted things. It shifted your perspective. It definitely got you out of your comfort zone. And so now that we have a new moon in your 6th house, this is like basically what I'm getting is like you're kind of just reinventing how you live life. Like you're reinventing how you go to work, how you show up to work, how you show up when it comes to being a service to other people, when it comes to like even just rising out of bed. Like the way you get up now is like totally different than it was before. And so you seem to be in a place where there's like some experimental going on, you know. It seems it seems like you are being very experimental in the way you go about doing things and the way you go about like presenting, because this, the fifth house has a lot to do with your expression and your identity. It's a house of Leo, and so it's how you put yourself out there, it's how you show up and how you perform. And the sixth house kind of like puts it into place. It basically takes all the creativity and the like boundarylessness of like Leo energy. Like there is no boundary on Leo. Whereas in Virgo, like Virgo energy, which is the sixth house, like there's a boundary. There's a little bit more structure. There's more of a goal in mind. There's more of a plan, like a blueprint, okay? And so here when we have the Hanged Man in accordance with the Libra New Moon and the sixth house, this is like, it's interesting because Aries, I was kind of getting something similar of having to like do something like new, like, and it was different for them. And so that's probably going to be the common theme for everyone during this Libra New Moon. It's like everyone is trying something new or doing something new, and it has a lot to do with how they're showing up and like what they have to offer other people, which is the sign of Libra. Like, it deals with others, and it deals like with what you give to others, whereas like Scorpio is like what you can get from other people. Libra is like what you give to other people. It tends to be a selfless sign, okay, for the most part, like generally speaking, okay. Some people will disagree when it comes to some certain Libras, but Libras generally are very giving. They're very much looking out for the other person, and at times they mirror other people. Okay, and you can get that from the hanged man as well. It is like a mirror. It is like seeing things from, I always get like you're looking through like a wall. It's like made out of water. Like, I don't know, just like imagine like a waterfall, but like you could see right through it, right? And it's like you're not seeing things clearly, or you may not be seeing things in like the form that it's meant to be in, like on a scientific whatever level, like how the rest of us see it, and so you're observing it through a new lens, and you might even experience some paranormal activity or even like psychic activity. Maybe you might see some orbs, or just like the corner of your eye, you could have swore there was somebody over there. Like stuff like that could be happening, especially if you're really tapped into the hangman energy, that Neptunian kind of just otherworldly fantasy, okay? And it's a little interesting because Aries got the opposite. They had to get out of the fantasy world. For you guys, maybe it wouldn't hurt to play around with it a little bit, just a little bit. And I would say just for the Libra New Moon. And of course, this is going to affect you for the next 6 months, but when it comes to the actual moon itself, the actual timing of things, then yeah, maybe it would be fun to kind of just play around and try to not only do things differently, because this is the sixth house, this has to do with like your habits and your routine, but just kind of like reinvent yourself or like reintroduce yourself. Maybe even like completely change your look, like get a whole new haircut, okay? No, only do that if you want to do that, but like, like just do something that's very different and maybe not expected from you. And I'm not trying to give you advice, like maybe this is what you're going to be doing, okay? Especially over the next 6 months, you might just kind of like step into a character of sorts, okay? You might, or even just an archetypal energy of sorts. So let's go ahead and pull another card. Okay, the second card we got is the Knight of Wands. That's that Leo energy I was mentioning about the fifth house. And it's funny, we have a Strength at the bottom of the deck, and underneath that we have the Fool. Okay, so yeah, you're definitely stepping into something new here. Again, like I feel like you guys, like your whole perspective on the world has completely changed. Like something happened and it radicalized you, and like now it's like there's no looking back, okay? Especially with that Knight of Wands energy, there's definitely no looking back. You're definitely ready to just go for it. So if there is something that you've been wanting to do, like something you've been daring yourself to do, or you've been afraid to do it, like I think it would be cool to like go ahead and just like do it, like, and don't even think about it, okay? And you have some time like for the next week. Yeah, I'm recording this on October 18th. The new moon's on the 21st. So I would say from today or whenever I upload this video and like a week after, okay? Or even just when you see this video, if you haven't taken action yet already, like this is your sign to like do something new and like just go for it and have trust and have faith. Have faith that like you got this, okay? That's what the strength card is all about. And the Fool card is about, it is about taking risks and like going for it and just like not really thinking, okay? But of course have discernment and don't just like, you know, jump into something blindly there. If you feel guided to do something, then follow that. But at the same time, I just think it's a cool time and a good idea to just do something new. Like just do something new, okay? I don't know how else to say it. But yeah, so I think it's all good energy, and that's all I got for you guys. So let's go ahead and pull an oracle card. So for you guys, we got number 10, community. I like that. That's pretty cool. All right, number 10, community. Here in the Seattle area, we have 3 big roosts. The largest, I believe, is the one at the UW Bothell campus. Each of these roosts serves as a community. It is a sanctuary. It is a place for the crows to retreat to in the evening where they are accepted and comforted. Lean on your community. Lean into the groups of people who you feel most at peace with during times of friction or stress. When you pull community, think of it as a nudge to connect with a group that interests you. Not only will you find new opportunities there, you will become part of a group focused on a similar goal. Community may also indicate that you would benefit from examining your relationships within a group or belief system. Are your goals and beliefs in alignment with the group's philosophy? Do you remain within a community because it is simply part of your history, but your involvement or participation is limited, and as a result you feel disconnected? You may need to consider the philosophy of a community that you no longer connect with is still impacting your decisions or your perception of events. So Taurus, thank you so much for watching, and I wish you all the best. Gemini rising, moon, or sun. With Gemini on the ascendant, this new moon will be placed in your 5th house of self-expression, creativity, passions, hobbies, luck and fortune, personal interests, dating life, and children. So to start off with, we have Justice, and this is the sign of Libra. So you are being guided by the forces of Libra. Okay, so Libra is also an Aries sign, and so you guys are making a trine to each other. And with that, you are being assisted by this new moon, and especially if you have anything at or around 22 degrees of Gemini. So first of all, if any of you are experiencing kind of like legal battles or court issues, anything that has to do with the government, with the state, taxes even, just anything that kind of falls under the like legal branch, justice is on your side, and so you might start seeing some breakthroughs for some of you, maybe even progress. Maybe there's been some delays, or you know, that's just how it goes. Like you have to wait a really long time for certain things to fall through and pull through. And so I feel like there's movement happening now, okay? And if it isn't anything legal, you could still see justice in the area of the 5th house, okay? So for those of you who are an artist, maybe you are like taking some kind of copyright action, maybe somebody stole something from you and you're suing them for it. Maybe you are making things official as well, like maybe you are launching a business, or you are just like, you're just putting something out there, something that you've created, something that you've worked hard on. And it doesn't have to be artistic, okay? It's just anything that kind of represents you, who you are, and it's something that you've made or you've done, even like writing a book, okay? So maybe, yeah, some of you could be publishing, or maybe you find a publisher and so you don't have to do it alone anymore. That seems to be a thing here, especially with Libra energy. Libra is about like companionship, forming a union with other people or with an entity of sorts, And so I feel like you guys are receiving help and you are receiving guidance, okay? A helping hand, even. So it seems pretty positive so far. On another note, I think it's important to think about what you have to offer other people, especially in the realm of the fifth house. So anything that has to do with expression and creativity. Okay, so maybe it is like allowing other people to finally express themselves, or maybe giving yourself permission to express yourself a little bit more with other people. Overall, I think it's a good time to exercise your rights, is what I'm getting. So it could be pretty political or not. It doesn't have to be. Okay, maybe some of you guys are students. Okay, and so there's some action you need to take. Okay, maybe you're like part of the student council or something like that, and you have a pretty important role. I feel like that's really specific, and I'm being called to say it. So if you are like in a student council, I feel like you are like creating a new position or a new role for the school or something like that. So like how, I don't know how student councils are, but how like there's like a treasury, there's like so I'm sorry, I got interrupted, I completely forgot what I was talking about, but I was explaining, it's 13:13 on the clock, but I was explaining about like how there's different roles for people. Again, I don't know anything about student council, but like like how there's like a treasury at the school, there's like I don't know, like the person who's like in charge of like the yearbook or something like that. Like at least it was like that in high school. Like I remember like people were elected to like these little positions, and like they just kind of helped out the school and they helped out other students. And so I feel like this is really specific, but I feel like somebody's like making a new role, a new position for somebody. Okay, or maybe somebody's leaving a position and you're like filling it for them, or you're looking for somebody to fill that, something like that. Okay, it's really specific. um so even if you're like not in student council but this resonates, then take the message. Okay. Yeah, let's go ahead and pull another card. Okay, so the next card we got is the Four of Wands, and immediately the first thing that come to mind was community. It was Taurus who got the oracle card community, so maybe you can just like go back and listen to that oracle card if you feel drawn to. Otherwise, there's like a sense of community here, and it could just be like one-on-one connection with somebody. Like maybe you have a partner and you and your partner do something for the community, or you're doing something for other people. Okay, and so yeah, like there seems to be some kind of partnership here that's really important, really significant. I mean, I think it's going to be like that for everyone. It's the Libra New Moon. Like we are looking at partnerships and relationships and our connection, especially that one-on-one connection. And it can be multiple connections, okay? But like each individual relationship's going to be special and different in its own way. And so you're definitely building something here with somebody as well. You are something about representation, okay? So maybe if you're a lawyer, you're representing somebody, and there's something really significant about that connection you have with them. Or if you're a lawyer, like the case you're taking on, like there's something really big about it. It may not seem like it right now, but like long term, I think it's a big deal. Maybe you're introducing something into the legal system. I don't think any politicians are watching, but if they are, like maybe you're a politician introducing a bill or something, it's going to be like a struggle at first. Either way, whatever you're introducing, it is going to be kind of like slow progress, but don't give up on it. At least for the next 6 months, if that is the case, for the next 6 months, then like stick with it and see where it goes. And if it doesn't really get anywhere after April, then, maybe go ahead and discard it or disregard it. Yeah, that's kind of like all I'm getting from it. I feel like I'm going to talk in circles if I keep going. So let's go ahead and pull an oracle card for you guys. So for you guys, we have number 8, commitment. And I feel like that goes along with everything I've been saying in this reading. So let's see what the book says. Okay, so number 8, commitment. Nature photographer June Hunter has documented the lives of a pair of crows she calls George and Mabel, and their commitment to one another. When George's beak broke due to an accident, his loving and faithful partner, Mabel, took over to ensure that George was fed and protected. When they coupled up, they agreed for better or worse, in sickness and in health. This loving pair remains committed. The commitment card asks that you examine areas where you have entered into an obligation. Are you ready to put in the work if needed? Are you willing to sacrifice something to ensure that you stay true to your word? If it is a goal you are committed to seeing through to completion, are you willing to offer your time and resources? Think about the commitments you have made. Do they raise your vibration just thinking about them, or do you feel a heaviness associated with the situation? Of course, we all have our moments of feeling less than enthusiastic. The question you may need to consider is if those moments of angst and resentment outweigh the love and support your commitment brings to your situation. So that's what I have for you guys. Thank you so much for watching, Gemini. I wish you all the best. Cancer, rising moon or sun. With Cancer on the ascendant, this new moon will be placed in your 4th house of ancestry, home, family, environment and foundations, emotional security, and domestic affairs. So for you guys, we have the Fool card. So that's a really interesting card to get, especially for the 4th house. And at the bottom of the deck we have is the Ace of Cups. Okay, so this Libra new moon is all about relationships and our connections with other people, especially one-on-one commitments. So there's somebody in the home or in your family that you are creating, maybe you're starting something new with them. Okay, so for some of you, maybe you've moved in with somebody recently, whether it's, you know, a partner or roommates or even family, like maybe you had to go back or something, or you're moving in with other family members. Either way, and I'm getting for like some of you, like you are like moving in with family, but like you're all like you all like bought a house together, and so that's like really specific. So that could be true for like maybe one of you or a couple of you, like you like got a house with your family and you guys, and it's like a big house too is what I'm getting, and like you guys are just like it's such a good idea, especially in this economy. Like I don't know, there's just something really, I don't know, either way, like I'm just getting like really cool vibes. I don't want to get too specific because I'm just going to throw people off. By the way, there seems to be something new within the home, and it's like it's very welcoming and it's very positive and uplifting, and like everything feels right. The vibes are right. Okay, I mean, we have the Ace of Cups at the bottom. And so, yeah, like this is all to brand new beginnings, a new start, a fresh start, even reconnecting to family, or it could even be something that you're reconnecting within yourself, something that was lost or something that you found. So I'm getting an image of like receiving a box of like all your like little childhood trinkets, and like maybe they're things that like your mother saved. Okay, we're dealing with Cancer energy, right? The mother. And so yeah, like maybe you completely forgot about it, or maybe you thought it was gone forever and you've been able to retrieve it. Okay, and so yeah, so I have like an image of like dust. Okay, and so there's something here that you've been able to like recover that was old, and it could be anything. It could be literally anything. It could even just be like a relationship that you're renewing, long lost like childhood friend. Okay, like somebody you like there was no way you were gonna find them because maybe you don't know their last name, or like they moved, you know, and maybe they moved before the internet was out, and so like there was no way of like staying in touch. Okay, and so yeah, there's like something here about retrieving something from the long lost past. Okay, but aside from that, again, there's just new beginnings within the home, and I don't want to sound like a broken record. Okay, so that's just like what I feel, and it feels great. It feels really like high vibe. Like I feel really uplifted. So I think that's really cool. So let's go ahead and pull another card. So the next card we have is the Nine of Pentacles. I almost said Knight, but the 9. Okay, and so yeah, again, this just adds to like all that feel good energy. You're just in a really good place right now. Like you've worked really, really hard to get where you are. I also feel like you guys are getting a big break. So maybe you're going on vacation. Okay, maybe you're receiving some kind of bonus and has nothing to do with the holidays. Like it just has a lot to do with what you've been putting in. Okay, especially when it comes to home. And I know I keep bringing that up, but you know, it has a lot to do, and it could just be like people that feel like home, okay? Or maybe you helped other people with their home, whatever that is, like whatever falls under the category of home, okay? You seem to be receiving a lot of abundance as well. There's like a revolving door of like things coming in and out, and it seems to be all pretty good. Okay, you are feeling really generous, but you're also like putting up boundaries. You're not just investing or giving away to just anything. Even when it comes to like buying stuff for yourself, you're being really mindful. Some of you might even be really mindful of like the environment. Some of you maybe are switching to like cruelty-free makeup, or like, you know, like adopting some kind of vegan diet, or like maybe like with clothes or something. Like you're doing things that like a preservation of sorts, and it's also like to like help the betterment of just I feel like your environment, but it like affects the world at large in some way. So like within your home, like you're just, you know, it's like getting rid of like all your polyester clothes, which like good luck, right? Like everything's made out of polyester, which is literally plastic. Like this shirt I'm wearing is polyester. Like this is probably all polyester. Very low vibrational. Even like bed sheets, you know, I make sure I always get 100% cotton bed sheets. It's just, it's not good for us. Like it's plastic, right? And so yeah, you could just be doing things around the house to just kind of like plastic. I don't know, maybe you're getting rid of plastic, okay? So I don't mean to go off on a tangent there, but yeah, that's like just basically what I'm getting. You're in a good place, and I feel like when you're in a good place, there's a lot less to say, because when you're in a good place, there's a lot less to worry about. There's a lot less to really discuss. I feel like it's all gravy. It's all good. So let's go ahead and pull an oracle card. So for you guys, we have number 25, influence. Ooh, bad influence. Look at them. They're doing bad stuff. Okay. So number 25, influence. Like impressionable teenagers, crows pick up on our habits, even the bad ones. Crows have been known to get drunk as well as smoke. Are you letting someone influence your behavior? There is a loss of control when influence is at play. A more dominant personality may make you feel inclined to engage in a risky behavior you would otherwise avoid. On the flip side, you may find someone strong and healthy to be inspirational, and because of their influence, you too feel motivated to make positive changes. Influence brings to your awareness the decisions that you may not have made if it weren't for an outside force leading the way. Like a Pied Piper leading the way with intoxicating music, you may be caught in another spell. A situation, whether it be current, from the past, or in the near future, may be the result of someone's charm or talent at swaying people. When influence appears, consider taking a moment to examine if you have been swayed into making a decision that you might not have made if the situation were different. For example, a salesperson may influence your decision to buy something you can't afford if they know the right way to manipulate you. So that's really interesting. I hope it resonated. I hope it was something you needed to hear. And with all that said, thank you so much for watching, Cancer. I wish you all the best. Leo, rising, moon, or sun sign. With Leo on the ascendant, this new moon will be placed in your third house of communications, language, writing, short distance travel, education, your neighbors, and your relatives. So for you guys, we have the 10 of Cups. So, I mean, what is there to say? It feels like things are going really, really well for you guys. I feel like you guys had a pretty good summer, even if you didn't do anything. I feel like maybe over the summer you got out of a really dark place. Maybe there's something you were battling with, you know, even if it's depression or maybe an illness of sorts, or like a physical injury, and you had to recover. And I feel like, you know, there might still be some things lingering, but for the most part, I think you guys are like finally reached a place where you can like see the light at the end of the tunnel. And so with that said, I feel like your social life is getting, I wouldn't say better, but like, yeah, maybe you are getting better at socializing and communicating, but I feel like just the people you're associating with, like, it's expanding. Your like your social circle is getting a little bit bigger, and it could be with people within your neighborhood, okay? People who are just close by or nearby. So I don't necessarily think it's like on the internet, okay? I do just feel like these people, I mean, maybe you could like meet people on the internet and like meet up with them in person. Like, I don't know if people still do that. Like, I'm sure people still do that, but like, I remember there used to be like websites for that where you can like set up meetup groups with people in your local area. There's like way back in the day, like before social media was what it is today. So yeah, like maybe you could just be attending more events and just getting out there a little bit more, getting more involved in your community or with your neighbors, with your relatives, okay? And you seem to be spreading some of that goodness around. Of course, Leo, you guys always spread your goodness around. You guys are the sun. And so people do love being in your presence, okay? And so yeah, you're kind of just shining your light on everybody, and everyone is benefiting from it, okay? It doesn't seem like a selfish thing. I mean, there's plenty to go around in this card, especially in the imagery. You know, rainbows are not just for you, rainbows are for everybody, okay? Rainbows in the sense that like blessings and abundance and just like all those positive things that we strive for and wish to achieve, you are just able to like kind of spread it. So yeah, you could be like literally spreading it, like giving to people, or just like offering words of advice, or just like your presence or your commitment to something. It benefits other people, and it's spreading. And that's something we want to focus on during the Libra new moon, is other people and our connection to them, our relationship to them, because that's what this new moon is all about. It's all about connections and relationships. And it's a pretty big deal because it is the turning point of the season of the year, and as well as a zodiac sign. Libra is halfway there. We are halfway there through the zodiac, and so the astrological year anyways. And even, what is it, the Jewish year, this is, well, a Yom Kippur is like a new year of sorts, but it does kind of like mark that passage of like halfway through. So the next card we have for you guys is the Lovers. So that's great. I mean, like, what is there to really say? I feel like this is a really good new moon for a lot of you guys. And, like, don't get me wrong. Like, maybe the astrology would disagree. Like, maybe there's something I'm seeing that is just like, no, you shouldn't do this, you know? I mean, we just got off having eclipses, and, like, they were really, really intense. I mean, a lot of, like, crazy things happened. I mean, just look at politics, especially in America. Like, things are a little nuts. And as I'm recording this, it's no King's protest day. And so not only that, like, we have those comets, we have an interstellar object within our solar system. Right now there's like 4 comets like within the bounds of like our solar system, and 2 of them are supposedly going to be visible during the new moon, or around the 21st. And so yeah, like it's just a really interesting time, okay? And so for you guys, you know, focusing more and more on your community, focusing on your one-on-one connections, I would say, especially offline, like people that you have direct contact with, no matter how big or small that is, I think is a good place to put your energy and attention into, because you there's all this abundance. Like, you're gonna get this feedback, even if you don't get it back right away, you're going to receive it back in return at some point. And this can go on for 6 months. So do keep that in mind, that these readings are a 6-month forecast. So it's not meant to all happen at one time. Although, of course, during the new moon is when you want to like really tap in and tune into what these are, you know, what these opportunities may be. Okay. And yeah, so again, I think just connecting with people and just getting out more and being more presentable, whatever that may mean to you, however, whatever presentable means, okay? I feel like there's a lot to learn. There's a lot to like communicate, again, because we are dealing with the 3rd house. I think you can learn a lot by just conversating with other people and like not thinking too hard about it, doing small talk, but kind of like thinking outside of that, and just kind of like let the conversations flow. So you might even people have just randomly come up to you and just start talking. Even if you're like a reserved Leo, which I know a few who are, allow that opportunity to come in, you know, just be open to that, you know, even if you don't want to be bothered or anything, just be open to it in the moment, because I feel like there's a lot you can learn, either about other people or about yourself, or just in general. So the oracle card we got for you guys is number 48, teamwork. Number 48, teamwork. Crows have mastered teamwork. Mobbing is one example of how crows work together on a common goal. When an intruder or a predator enters their territory, the birds jump into orchestrated action. Each member of the group holds an advantageous position in fighting off the threat. If your situation is a bit more complex, or you could use an extra hand, teamwork will be the solution to finding success. Call upon your team, your family, or your friends to assist you when facing a challenge that requires more than you can comfortably handle. Teamwork strengthens bonds, creates positive memories, and reinforces an awareness that you are not alone. So that's what I have for you guys, Leo. Thank you so much for watching, and I wish you all the best. Virgo, rising, moon, or sun. With Virgo on the ascendant, this new moon will be placed in your second house of resources, material possessions, your wants, needs, desires, and your sense of security. So for you guys to start with, we have the Four of Pentacles. And since we are dealing with the second house, I feel like you guys are practicing or setting up pretty strong boundaries at this time, especially when it comes to finances. So this Libra new moon is all about about other people. It is all about connection, relationship, and union with another person. And for you guys though, I feel like you are a bit more standoffish at this time. You're a bit more reserved, a bit more held back, okay? And there could be really good reason for that. Maybe it has a lot to do with the fact that we just had 2 Virgo new moons in your sign. And so you are basically like redefining like everything in your life, like who you are, how you show up, what you want to do with your life, like as far as like career path or whatever it may be, relationship, like whatever's important to you. I feel like you've reached a point where maybe you were giving so much to like the wrong people or to the wrong cause, or just into something that just wasn't, it wasn't like it wasn't worth it or anything, but it was just like it wasn't reciprocal, okay? And it wasn't really about getting something back in return, but there comes a time when it's like you can't just keep giving to somebody or to something and not get anything out of it. Like, look at it as like charity. Like we give to charity because for one, we're able to, and for the most part it's because we want to help, because we want to give back to the community or to somebody else, especially to those who are in need of it, who are in need of help, whether it is like financial charity or it's like volunteer work or whatever it may be, like, or even just helping a friend out. And that's what Libra is about. It's like helping other people, giving to other people. But the downside to that is that Libra tends to overgive, overproduce, maybe I wouldn't say overpromise, but they kind of just, they do more than they probably should. They don't really settle for the bare minimum. They like to go above and beyond. Okay. And so with that said, I feel like you've kind of reached a point where it's like, well, I don't mind helping other people, but I'm not getting out of it. They're not doing anything with it. So I might as well pull back. Okay. And so this is the second house. So this does have to do with your resources, your personal space even. So it could be about boundaries, but this card typically signifies you holding on to resources, material, financial, holding on to your possessions, not really sharing with any other people. So be mindful of that though, because this Libra new moon is calling us to give to others, help other people, but at the same time, sometimes by not helping, you are helping, right? It's like taking the training wheels off. At some point, some other people gotta do it on their own, right? Like you can't just keep holding on to the bike for them forever. Like you have to let go of the bike at some point and let them fly and be free, right? Let them crash and burn if they have to, of course, safely. Okay, like make sure they got a helmet on, like, like as long as everything's good, like everything's like the protocols in order, like let go. Lessons have to be learned by experience. Okay, so the next card we got is the Four of Wands. And what I got immediately is that you're holding out for the long term. And so yeah, I knew there had to been good behind this, why you're just holding on to everything, not really sharing, putting up boundaries, maybe even pulling back from helping other people. It's because you're holding out for something bigger, greater, grander. So it's complicated because I said a lot of I gave a lot of examples, but for the most part, I think this has a lot to do with wealth, accumulating wealth and resources, whether that is like money wealth or whatever wealth means to you, okay? Even if it's a state of mind or just a state of being. Again, you're holding out for the long term, okay? You're looking to invest in places that yield some kind of, feedback, some kind of reward, okay? It doesn't have to be exactly getting, what you put in, okay? It's just you're getting something out of it. And so with that said, I think you're being really selective of who and where you're giving your time and energy. Okay, so again, it's like you're not completely cutting people off. I think you're just being really selective. It's like the bike analogy, letting go the bike so they can ride the bike on their own. And it's like you're not going to just turn around and walk away. Like you're going to stay there and watch them, right? But it's like you're letting them fly free, basically. And take that as like a metaphor or an analogy for like anything in your life where that relates, especially the second house. Okay. Yeah, I think it's good preparation for what's to come next month as well. Maybe even around the Scorpio new moon. There might be a connection to that has a lot to do with community, as this will be your third house, okay? For Virgo risings anyways, but even if you're not a Virgo rising, you may still feel the effects of that. Okay, and so the third house will be about like commitments with other people, with community, with your local environment, and just like there is still connection there because Scorpio is another sign of connection. It's much deeper and it has a lot to do with what you receive from other people, okay? Whereas Libra is like what you're giving to other people. And keep in mind that this is a 6-month forecast, so it's gonna carry over for the next 6 months up until April next year. And so you could just be rewiring this side of you, if you're not putting up boundaries on people now, maybe you will later on, okay? And that Scorpio new moon will invite the opportunity for other people to show up for you or not show up. And from there, you can adjust, okay? And do as you please. Okay, so that's basically what I got for you guys as far as the tarot goes. And so let's go ahead and pull an oracle card. So for you guys, we have number 19, freedom. That's cool. I feel like that's going to go with what I've been saying so far. Number 19, freedom. Freedom brings the message that you do not need to stay where you are. You can change your position. You can rise up and see the world from a different point of view. You have the wings. All you need is the desire and self-confidence to fly. Freedom brings movement, flexibility, and the ability to expand your horizons. Whether it is freedom to travel, freedom to make decisions at work, or freedom to splurge on your favorite meal. When this card appears, you may need to ask yourself some questions. In which areas of your life would you like to expand your freedom? What is your definition of freedom? So that's all I have for you, Virgo. Thank you so much for watching, and I wish you guys all the best. Libra, rising moon, or sun. With a Libra on the ascendant, this new moon will be placed in your first house of identity, sense of self, your soul's direction, and your place in the world. So for you guys, we have the Queen of Pentacles. And I love to see this because the Queen of Pentacles really is all about her business. This is a sign of Capricorn, and she is so much more focused on herself, and not in a selfish way, okay? It's more in a self-fulfillment way, and some more in a self-mastery, okay? Capricorn energy. And it's interesting because Capricorn's ruled by Saturn, and Saturn is exalted in the sign of Libra. And so you guys are all too familiar with that kind of energy, that Saturnian authoritarian, kind of like structured, disciplined, even energy and archetype. Okay, and so with Queen of Pentacles here and with this new moon in your first house, you guys definitely are like focused on yourself. And I mean, as you should be, because it is Libra season. So it's your birthday season. So happy birthday to all the Libras out there. And so it's about, again, it's about self mastery. It's about being better than the old version of you. The only competition is yourself. And it could even just be the battle with your own thoughts and your own mind and your self-doubt. Even Capricorn is definitely a sign of self-doubt, and through that self-doubt though, they manage to persevere. Like, they use that as fuel. The thing about Capricorns, and I might have even made this joke before, like on Twitter, but it's like, if you ever see like a Capricorn just like being really pessimistic and like self-depreciating, like, mind your own fucking business, because they're working something out here. Now, it's not to say that like you should be doing that or if it's a good thing or not, but I'm just saying that like Capricorns are their hardest critic. Like, you cannot critique a Capricorn more than they critique themselves. An unevolved Capricorn or an unconscious Capricorn will project that onto other people too. So do keep that in mind, especially if you are dealing with a Capricorn. Just realize that a lot of like the negative talk, or the like, you know, kind of like dad talk, you know, like the dad energy kind of thing, just keep in mind that like that's what they tell themselves, and they tend to project that onto other people. Okay, and you might see some of that happening here with the Libra new moon. You might experience a lot of people projecting onto you. I would use that as an opportunity to maybe help them, whether you are really direct about it, or, you know, you don't have to like call them out and be like, oh, you're projecting. You know, maybe there's a way you can work around it with them, or try to like get them to realize that like what they're saying and what they're doing is like really a reflection of them, which I'm sure you're all too familiar with as a Libra. We tend to have people project onto us. I'm a Libra rising, and like people just kind of like, and so when you do like mirror that back to them, they tend to hate you and not like you, or they think you're fake and phony, but really you're just kind of mimicking them. And you're kind of just, and it's just your way of balancing things out, of making things like a mood, I guess. Like, and some people don't like that. Some people don't like to get back like what they give out, in the sense of like, some people just don't like to look in the mirror. So with all that said though, this Libra new moon is an opportunity. Even though it is in your first house, it is an opportunity to see your position in relationships. Like, what do you have to offer? Where are you overgiving? Where are you underperforming and undergiving? And where are you just not being appreciated? Okay, and we had Venus go through the sign of Virgo, which had went through the 12th house for Libra. And so you might have even seen like people just kind of like fall off. I mean, I stopped getting engagements on Twitter. Like, the people that were engaging are just like no longer. It's only a few people now. And I used to think I was shadow banned or whatever, or maybe there's something wrong with the algorithm. But, you know, Venus through the 12th house, it can kind of clean house a little bit. And it's not to say that it's a bad thing, or you should feel resentful, or it's permanent. I think it's just a way for you to get back to yourself, okay? A way for you to not focus so much on other people and start focusing a little bit more on yourself. And it's a good time, again, to focus on yourself because it's Libra season. Okay, and so, yeah, let's go ahead and pull another card. Okay, so the next card we got is the Page of Pentacles. And so you guys are planning for the future. I feel like some of you have finally made a choice, made a decision, something you want to leave behind for good, something you want to try new even, and you're just ready to just begin a new chapter in your life. And we have the Magician at the bottom of the deck. And so I think there's a lot that you can get done right now. So I would say, like, put your plans out into the universe, say your prayers, write down your intentions, and make sure they're things that you can repeat back to yourself and like not forget about. So don't over ask for anything. Like, if we're manifesting here, like, don't ask for things that are unrealistic. And I feel like that's another theme with this Libra new moon, is that people need to get realistic about who they are and what they have to offer other people, and then just their relationships. Like, maybe you might want to watch the Aries video, but for them it was just like they had to like just come to terms with who they are and what they have to offer other people. And did they overpromise? Did they have high expectations of themselves or as other people? These are things to evaluate and think about during this Libra new moon. And so since this focus is more on you and who you are, it's a good opportunity to really work on yourself. And we have Pentacle energy here, so this all has to do with resources, finances, the material reality. With the help of Libra getting out of the 12th house finally, maybe you can like come to terms with certain things. You're able to let go of a lot. Venus going through the 12th house has cleared the way for a lot of things that no longer serve a purpose or no longer really have room in your life. Okay, and it could be anything. It could be a job, even like maybe you lost a job, or maybe you're changing career paths, anything. And so yeah, I also am getting something like you're able to receive assistance from an outside source. So I can definitely relate to that. So you can be receiving some kind of help. And even though it's temporary, I feel like it could definitely last for the next 6 months, okay? Maybe you need to renew in 6 months. Whatever that source is, like whatever it is you're receiving, I feel like you can expect to receive that for at least the next 6 months. Maybe not expect it to be like the same amount of support, but just know that that support is there and it's there to assist you. And I think it's really, really important, especially with the Magician, that you're really, and we have the Page of Swords, that you're really mindful. Okay, that's what Libra air energy is. It's mindfulness about how you are building, because I feel like everything counts, like every dollar counts, every penny counts, and you don't want to be wasteful. I mean, yeah, now and then maybe you could splurge and treat yourself, but don't get lost in the sauce. Don't get distracted. Another thing about this Libra new moon is I think it's helping people become more logical, a lot more realistic about things. I mean, again, Saturn's exalted in Libra. So yeah, there's a lot going on here. So I would just say for the next 6 months, you are building upon something that's really about yourself. It's really about getting yourself to an elevated place, whatever that may be, whether it's a position or a state of mind. Even it could be anything. And while Venus is in the sign of Libra for probably like the next 20 or so days, take advantage of that, okay? Especially with the sun, like I mean, we are ending Libra season here pretty soon, but just take advantage of all that good energy of everything that is being offered to you at this time. Be open, be receptive. It's all about give and take and what people have to offer. I would say in Scorpio season, you might really see like people giving more to you or putting more into you. Okay, so with all that said, let's go ahead and pull an oracle card. So for you guys, we have number 12, direction. Number 12, direction. Each evening at around dusk, hundreds of crows fly over my apartment on their way to their evening roost. They are not distracted by the sights and sounds of the city. The crows are focused on moving in one direction. When you know where you are going, it is easier to stay on the path. Direction brings clarity and creates a roadmap to success. Direction is a call for you to find your North Star, your point on the map that represents your big goal, the destination that no roadside attraction can lure you away from. When you know exactly where you are going, you will be able to stay focused. You will be able to recognize when an opportunity is nothing more than a tempting diversion from your goal. When you pull the direction card, take time to check to see if you know where you are going. Do you see your path before you? So I can definitely relate to that. And it's 14:14 on the clock. And I can relate because I've been thinking a lot lately about the whole concept of like timeline jumping. I kind of feel like maybe some of us are being too much of a magician and doing too many timeline jumps, and we're kind of like getting off our path by doing that. I don't know. It's something I've been thinking about. But yeah, so just redirection, like keep your mind on your path, what's right in front of you should definitely be your focus. That's definitely the message of the Queen of Pentacles, is to focus on what's right in front of you, what you're able to do in that moment. And, you know, that will help you be present and stay on track. So with all that said, Libra, thank you so much for watching, and I wish you all the best. Scorpio, rising moon or sun. With Scorpio on the ascendant, this new moon will be placed in your 12th house of hidden realms, enemies, asylum, mental health, dreams, fantasies, secrets, and solitude. So for you guys, we have the Wheel of Fortune. And so this is really, really interesting. I feel like you guys are kind of like in a hibernation phase right now. You kind of are in, you're in your 12th house era. Okay, like you are experiencing some kind of rebirth, or you're about to go through a rebirth. Now with the Wheel of Fortune, this is telling me that there's a lot that's left undecided, whether that is you or the universe, okay? And we are dealing with the 12th house, so I would say to really just kind of take things easy. Don't have too many expectations. Let bygones be bygones, okay? You might be experiencing some sort of loss at this time during the season of Libra. We are very close to Scorpio season. We're going to be a couple days away, or a day away at least, after the new moon, and we will finally be in your season. And so happy birthday to all the Scorpios who are born this month in October, and I'm happy to have you guys here. And I would say the good news is that there's potential. Let's just say that there's potential. I would be really mindful of your karma, okay, of things that you are keeping secret, things that you are hiding from yourself and from other, because when we get into Scorpio season, those things can come to the surface. Whether or not there is an audience that will see it, it will at least be apparent to you, okay? So I think what's happening right now is that it's like almost like your fate is being decided, and that's kind of what the Wheel of Fortune is. It is deciding your fate of what to come, and it has a lot to do based on your action, whether or not you believe in determinism or free will. It has a lot to do with just how you are moving in the world. And when it comes to Libra, this has a lot to do with your connection to other people, your one-on-one connection, your relationships. And this Libra new moon seems to be highlighting what we have to offer the other person. And are we fulfilling those promises that we've made, those obligations, those contracts? You know, are we being dutiful about what we're doing for others, or are we doing things in a selfish manner? Are we trying to gain something from other people? Are we being manipulative? And I would say to be mindful of that, because 12th house deals with like manipulation and secrets, and a lot of it is unconscious, okay? So there could be things you're doing that you're not realizing that you're doing, okay? You know, it's just a fact of life. You know, we all have a shadow, and some of us are just not aware of it. But at the same time, I think it's a positive thing, because if you are mindful of it now, when Scorpio season comes, you're going to be able to really identify it a lot better, because again, it's all just going to come out onto the surface for you and maybe for others to see. So keep that in mind. Your reputation here seems to be at stake in some way. Okay, so the next card we got is the Queen of Swords. Oh, this light's terrible. Okay, so with the Queen of Swords, whatever is happening, I feel like you're going to come out on top either way. And you might see this recycle being repeated over the next 6 months of like kind of just like being in limbo and then rising to the top, okay? And it's literally because you're going through that circular Wheel of Fortune movement where you're gonna have your highs, you're gonna have your lows, you're gonna have your midpoint, okay? Yeah, so just be really mindful of that. I feel like the speed in which the wheel spins can be decided upon your awareness of yourself,
especially, and how that is reflected back into your relationship. The things you tell yourself, your inner parent, is like how is what you're going to project onto other people. Especially if you have children, you may not notice, or maybe you might notice it in your partner, especially if you're familiar with their upbringing and the way their parents talk to them. You might see that reflected in the way they raise their children, okay? Whether or not they're your partner, maybe you might recognize it in a friend or a family member. And it's just like, it's really interesting. I think that's how we get like generational curses, or how sometimes it's harder to break certain patterns and habits in a family, because it's just been repeated, and a lot of it is unconscious, and a lot of us don't realize that how we go about doing things has a lot to do with our upbringing. Okay, I think we forget, because we become adults and we start making choices and decisions for ourselves without really reflecting too much on our past and where we come from. And there's a lot that we're going to forget about from our childhood. So that could be things to consider at this time, to think about. Again, we're going through the 12th house. We're going through, it's like it's like having skeletons in the closet. Okay, it's kind of like, or it's like opening the closet door. What's it called? I forget the name of it, but in Narnia, whatever they open up, it's like a closet, but there's a name for it. It's like opening it up and like stepping into a new world. And it's a world that gets you to become more of who you are. So yeah, it could be uncomfortable for some people. I mean, especially with the Queen of Swords, she's going to tell it like it is. She's going to present the facts, and she's going to be really straightforward about it. Okay? There is diplomacy. There could be agendas. Okay? There could be tactics. I mean, it's political, politics. No matter what side of the fence you're on, there's propaganda. Okay? Everyone's brainwashed to a degree. Just be mindful of that. Be mindful of, especially in this world where, we are, especially if you live in the Western world, like, it's so easy to get caught off guard and lose track of who you really are because of the world, just the way everything is and the way everything's ran. There's a lot that's taken from us. There's a lot of disconnect, okay? And so, yeah, I don't mean to make this so deep for you guys, Scorpio, but I'm sure you don't mind. I mean, I have Scorpio, Venus in Scorpio, so I know it can get pretty deep. It's the 12th house. It's deep. I mean, it's as deep as it's gonna get. So, we might as well deal with it. I would say on a positive note, this is going to help you be more assertive, be able to really exercise boundaries, like instead of just like kind of putting up with certain things or certain people, moving forward, you're gonna be able to really just be like, all right, like, no more. And it's not about being mean. It's not about cutting people off. It's just like space needs to be respected, okay? Not only that, I feel like you're going to be able to better communicate your needs and your desires. I feel like you can receive some criticism, of course, but I feel like you can gain some new alliances here, okay? By being that Queen of Swords, that diplomat. This is Libra energy too, okay? So at least around during this Libra New Moon, and when it comes to anything related to the 12th house for the next 6 months, I would say to just be mindful of these cycles and be mindful that you are being judged by the universe. And so you want to be as honest and straightforward as you can when it is appropriate, okay? Because boundaries still need to be applied. Sometimes being straightforward is a boundary. And so there's that. As long as it's not manipulative, okay? Let's avoid that. The 12th house is going to get you to see that too, like where you are being manipulative, if you are, or where you are getting manipulated. And so again, I think this is just a good time for you to be really mindful and self-aware of your inner workings, kind of like your automatic responses even. So let's go ahead and pull an oracle card. So for you guys, we got number 11, curiosity. Number 11, curiosity. An open door is an open invitation for this brave crow. Now is an excellent time to consider what treasures you will find when you are brave enough to explore. Curiosity asks that you open doors, look inside, and analyze the situation. This is a time to dig in and do your research. Curiosity indicates that you are just scratching the surface. The possibilities are vast that you are currently seeing. However, you need to get inquisitive. When you start asking questions, a path will unfold. When curiosity appears, you will be better served by putting aside your emotions and thinking like a researcher. So that's what I have for you, Scorpio. Thank you so much for watching, and I will catch you in the next video. Sagittarius, rising, moon, or sun sign. With Sagittarius on the ascendant, this new moon will be placed in your 11th house of networks, community involvement, your social circle, creative projects, aspirations, and gains. So for you guys, we have the Four of Cups. And I find that interesting because we are dealing with the 11th house. So we are dealing with a large group of people or just a wider audience in our life. And with the Four of Cups, it's what I'm getting is like you kind of just don't want to deal with anyone. You don't want to deal with other people's bullshit. I feel like you've been dealing with a lot of people, or maybe it's like groups of people or just places that you are going to or have been where everything just seems kind of like fake and like superficial. And maybe for a while now, like you guys didn't mind it, you kind of enjoyed it, like, you know, it was whatever, like it is what it was. But maybe it's something like as we age too, we tend to kind of like grow out of things or kind of see certain things as childish and immature. Like it gets to a certain point where we do gotta like grow up or mature, right? And so I kind of just feel like there's a lot around you, especially people who just, they're not really going in the direction you want to go in. And it's not really about them being fake or superficial per se. It's just like it just doesn't seem like important to you anymore. Like it's like a reality that it just doesn't resonate, and it doesn't work, and or it's not working out for you. But I feel like you guys have been in this place for a while, and I might have even picked up on that in previous readings where you guys are kind of just being more reclusive. You're being more focused on yourself. You might even be more of a homebody lately. I have been picking up on that. And so at the same time, I feel like I did a reading where you guys are like returning back to the things that you love and enjoy doing. And maybe by doing that, you're starting to see all these other things that you were doing or what other people are doing is like just not important. It's just that, like, I'm not trying to put down the people around you either. I mean, unless they deserve it, but nobody really deserves it. But it's just like, yeah, I'm not trying to put other people around you down. Like, it's not to knock on them, but it's just, again, it's like not in alignment with you. You're not really into that anymore. So you could be like declining invitations, okay? And again, that's interesting because now is the time to network, okay, during Libra season. But I don't know, like you guys just you're not really feeling it. Okay, and maybe this could be the approach of Scorpio season, which is your 12th house, and we're going to have a Scorpio new moon in the 12th house. And that is definitely a time to do a lot of self-reflection, a lot of deep reflection. And it's a time when you see who your enemies are, who really has your back and who doesn't, who's being superficial with you. Kind of feel like you're just getting a head start. And I mean, this Libra new moon is at the later degree of Libra, so, and it's right before Scorpio season. So I just kind of feel like you're already there, like you're already focused on just yourself, really. And that's even more interesting because, again, we're dealing with Libra. Now, with the Scorpio reading, I could see how they're focusing more on themselves to realign with themselves better. When Scorpio season or Sagittarius season comes around, this is your rebirth. This is your time to step into a new persona, a new character, or at least the next chapter of your life for at least the next year. It's a good time to observe yourself so that way you're not like projecting onto other people, which is something I got for Scorpio. Now for you guys, I think it's really the environments you're in. I feel like you're tired of it. Maybe it just feels like it's endless, like it's not really going anywhere. Okay, especially if you work like in the corporate world, like you're starting to see like how it's not really getting anywhere, either for yourself or like for humanity at large. Okay, maybe you've lost relationships as a result. Maybe you've changed so much as a person that people that you love don't even recognize you anymore. Or maybe just the connections you have with people just aren't the same and haven't been the same for a while. And so, yeah, like now you're just like, okay, well, let me just be a recluse. Let me just focus on myself and take care of myself first. Now, on the flip side of this is that you could be really missing out on some fantastic opportunity. So do keep that in mind. The Four of Cups is about somebody who is being really stubborn, who is just being, they're afraid to admit that they're wrong. They're afraid to admit that they don't need any help or any guidance. And so keep that in mind, that the universe could be kind of nudging you to do something that you just like in the moment, you just don't think it's necessary or important. So it's good to just practice discernment and try to be aware of that, and try to, don't decline every offer, I would say, but also keep in mind that, you may only get like one offer and decline it, and you may not get any other offers, right? So it's tricky. It is really tricky energy. We're dealing with cups here. So for the next card we have is Death card. And so I could definitely see why now you are in that kind of reclusive mood, reclusive phase. And we do have the Seven of Swords at the bottom. So this is a really tricky time. You want to be really careful who you deal with over the next 6 months, and especially in Scorpio season. I feel like your enemies could be revealed, even certain things about yourself could be revealed, certain aspects of yourself that you keep hidden that maybe other people can see and are aware of. And so it's an opportunity to either own up to it or take control and do something about it. So with the Death card, it's a sign that things are clearing away, that things are being removed out of your life, whether it is your doing or the universe is doing. And so I feel like there's a lot that is coming to an end when it comes to the 11th house. So a lot of networks and associations could be coming to an end. These could be contracts, these could be business related company you work for, maybe they're changing or undergoing new management. Okay, so it could be something like that. So it's not like, it doesn't have to necessarily be anything that's like a complete ending or cut off, but things are definitely changing. The way of the old is no more. Like, it's time to adapt, evolve, and move on. Okay, and so I think that's what's really important here over the next 6 months when it comes to your network and who you associate with, and as well as how you put yourself out there, especially when it's related to projects. Okay, there's going to be a lot of transformation in this place, in this area of your life, where you just want to reinvent that aspect of your life. Okay, maybe you just go about, maybe you join a networking group that opens up the door to other people or businesses or organizations that you probably didn't have access to before. So I could see why you are like saying no to certain things, because you do have your eye on something else. And I think that's important to bring up for this Libra new moon, is that everyone seems to have their eye on the prize, whatever that may be, and it's important to stick to it, because I feel like it's what is more in alignment with who you are and what you want to do, and it has a lot to do, even though Libra is about the other people, the other person, I think has a lot more to do with people just finally stepping more into their power. And by doing that, it benefits the other people, but it also creates this air of like authenticity. And so you don't have to put up a front anymore, basically, in every way, shape, or form, metaphorically, literally, whatever. Okay, so I think that's all I need to say for now. So let's go ahead and pull an oracle card. So for you guys, we got number 32, nature. It is our connection to nature that fills our spirit and reunites us with divine energy. Living in a city full of concrete buildings, it can feel as though Mother Nature resides so far away. But she is here in the grass that sprouts up in the cracks on the sidewalk, in the overgrown empty lots, and in the birds that mingle with us in the park. All we need to do is look, and we will find that connection. Nature asks that you see the evidence of divine energy that is all around you, regardless of the landscape. When nature appears, it may also indicate that you are long overdue for some outside time. Take this as a cue to go for a walk, head out into a park, or go to the beach. New ideas and inspiration will come through connecting with nature. So that's all I have for you, Sagittarius. Thank you so much for watching, and I wish you all the best. Capricorn, rising moon or sun sign. With Capricorn on the ascendant, this new moon will be placed in your 10th house of vocation, careers, public image, legacy, long-term plans, and your impact on the world. So for you guys, we got the 10 of Swords. So okay, I know this looks bad, but I think there's some good to be said about this. So for one, I kind of feel like you guys are really burnt out. Like you guys are definitely, especially when it comes to the 10th house, when it comes to your career and your image and just like your legacy as a whole, I feel like you guys are just like overworked, burned out. It doesn't have to be negative in a sense that like you're giving it your all and your boss doesn't appreciate you and all that. I think it's more or less that, I don't know, like I feel like you guys are needing some change, and you've been needing some change for some time. At the same time, yeah, like you probably aren't being appreciated or even getting paid correctly, like your worth for what you do, or like you're not being compensated. Either way, like, you know, I'm not trying to focus on the negative either. I just feel like you just kind of like reached a breaking point, basically. Like you're kind of, whatever it is, and for whatever reason, you're just kind of like just at a point where it could even just be as simple as you're just not satisfied in your career. Like the thrill is gone. Maybe your interests have changed and like you just no longer find it interesting or meaningful. Maybe you found a new sense of purpose. Okay, again, like it could be many different things, but regardless, I just feel like you guys are kind of just sick of it all. Like you guys are just, you just reached a certain point where it's like you're gonna keep going, but it's like at what cost or to what avail? You just don't see purpose in something anymore. So it doesn't have to be career specifically, even though this is the 10th house. It could just even be like your relationships with other people in terms of like career, like business partners, coworkers. It could even be a spouse. It could be a marriage. It could be her connection to people on the internet. Okay. Either way, like just things just aren't as exciting or as thrilling as they used to be. And on another end, it maybe things are just not getting better, like things have gotten worse, or it's just not progressing in a certain way. So for some of you, yeah, like you're depressed or you're experiencing depression. For others of you, maybe it's not that deep, but you're still just unsatisfied in some way, shape, or form. So the next card we got for you is the Knight of Swords. So yeah, you guys definitely are in serious need of change, of an upgrade, of a new direction, maybe a new path, whether or not it's career. You're looking for something new and different, something that can like realign you or bring you that sense of stability or excitement that you once felt before. Okay, so again, it could be many things. And keep in mind, we are dealing with Libra energy. We are dealing with relationships as well as what we give to other people. Yeah, like I feel like there's so much to be said about that. You know, it can go in so many directions on what that truly means. So apply this reading in the best way you can to your life and what you're experiencing. Now, the Knights of Swords could also be a sign of news on the way, especially around the Libra full moon or the Libra new moon. Again, this will be 6 months of activity. This is a 6-month forecast. So you might get like a sneak peek at the new moon, and then for the next 6 months, it'll slowly play out. Either way, you're going to receive some kind of insight, new information. It could even be as simple as like picking up a new study or picking up a new book to read, or you just receive a message. Maybe you get a job offer. Maybe you hear back from an old friend. I mean, it could be anything, but whatever it is, it's going to be life-changing, okay? There could be an offer with it. Like the Knight of Swords could be bringing in an offer, or it's bringing in the opportunity that can give you an offer later on. Okay, so I think it has a lot to do with you putting yourself out there, and it could be really subtle, like just applying for jobs or like keeping your resume open for other companies to see you. So it could be really indirect like that, or it could be very direct and like put it out on the table for you. So do keep that in mind. Okay, so I think it is good to communicate with people, to exchange conversation, and again, to put yourself out there, to promote yourself, to brand yourself if needed, and to just kind of like keep going and doing what you're doing, but maybe do something new every day that brings you closer to what it is that you really want to do. Okay, whether you actually take action or you take the time to think about it and plan it and kind of set it up for yourself. Okay, so I feel like there could be a lot that could be said because we are dealing with the 10th house, but at the same time I feel like you guys are on the right track. You're just kind of like got to get over this bump in the road basically. And again, once this messenger comes in, it's action being put forth, but it is a communicative action. Once that is being established, then I think that's when you could start getting out of this 10 of swords rut that you've been in for some time. Okay, so let's go ahead and pull an oracle card. So for you guys, we got number 26, insight. Crows and ravens are problem solvers. Crows make tools and learn from each action. In this illustration, you see the crow dropping rocks into the water. After testing a couple of rocks, the crow began to understand the relationship between the stones and the water. It learned that with each rock, the water would rise, and as a result, the buoyant shrimp would rise too. Insight asks that you take the time to examine your situation. Test out different strategies to gain wisdom. When you understand the relationship between all contributing factors, you will be able to identify actions that yield a little benefit or remove any obstacles that may have been in your way, and in turn apply strategies that expedite success. So that's what I have for you, Capricorn. Thank you so much for watching, and I wish you all the best. Aquarius, rising moon or sun. With Aquarius on the ascendant, this new moon will be placed in your 9th house of higher learning, philosophy, religion, long distance travel, publications, luck and fortune, and moral values. So for you guys, we have the 7 of Pentacles. And so I like to see this because we are dealing with the 9th house, okay? And we are dealing with Libra energy, so this has a lot to do with your relationships and your one-on-one connections with another person, even with yourself, or even with a higher being or a higher source. And for you guys, I feel like you guys are cultivating a wealth of knowledge here. So I feel like there's a lot to gain during this time, especially over the next 6 months in the house of, or the 9th house in general, and everything that's surrounded by the 9th house. There's a lot for you to gain, and as well as access, okay? And it has a lot to do with information, even technology, books, communication, things like that, as well as things related to Libra. So justice and law, diplomacy, even politics, okay? Things that are somewhat humanitarian, as well as like logistical, I guess. I don't know if that makes any sense. There's a lot of activity in this house. There's a lot of opportunity, okay? And so with the 7 of Pentacles, this is about cultivating and acquiring and, you know, just tending to your garden, kind of minding your own business, being open to possibility, but also being focused on the goal, okay? And so this could even be related to career. And so the information you are acquiring at this time is beneficial to your career, whether or not you are aware of it or intentionally doing that. There's still just something here that can benefit your career moving into Scorpio season, okay? So the next card we have is the Sun card. So I love to see that. And I do feel like you guys are in a good place. I feel like what you are cultivating and acquiring is like making you feel better about yourself, okay? Making you feel more alive, more abundant overall. Even if you don't necessarily like have a lot, I think you guys are just, there's a deep sense of gratitude here, okay? And so you guys seem to really be appreciating what it is you are building upon, okay? Whether it is like just learning information or whatever, or if it is in terms of like career. I also feel like you are receiving a lot of like respect from your peers, maybe from your boss, okay, or like a coach or a mentor. I think you're picking up easy on something, some kind of learning, some kind of information or knowledge, and you are being recognized for that. So even if you don't have like a mentor or a boss or anything like that, just know that the universe sees your efforts and it wants to reward you for them. But of course, the Seven of Pentacles is about cultivation. It's not about harvesting. So the more you cultivate, the more bountiful your harvest will be. And just staying in that optimistic mindset of the Sun card, I think is going to really benefit you and help you hold out through any kind of difficulties or obstacles that you may face, especially when it deals with ninth house matters. Overall, I do feel like it's a pretty chill time. I mean, you are being trined by this new moon, by this Libra energy, and so you're kind of just vibing right now. You seem pretty chill and laid back again. Not too many worries. I will say any worries you do have can probably deal with like bills, or like I have the Nine of Wands at the bottom of the deck, so I think it has a lot of you like having to spend your resources is what bothers you, like feeling you don't have enough of something, not really being sure about certain things. So maybe so if, like, let's give an example, like you're a student and you have, you know, your student bills, you have to pay your student debt, and you're not really sure how you're going to pay it all off and cover everything, but you do feel guided to keep going anyways. Like, you know it's going to get paid off deep down inside, but you're not able to see it. And so there could be some self-doubt and worry here when it comes to having to use your resources, especially money, okay? Because we are dealing with Pentacles, and it's just what I'm getting from like the Nine of Wands. There's like a lot of concern, but at the same time, like, you know you could do it and cover it. Let's say like you know you could like pay a bill off right now, but you would rather not, okay? And it's probably fine that you would rather not. You definitely want to be mindful at the same time about your money and your resources, okay? We do have the Ace of Pentacles under the Nine of Wands, so I think it's fair that you are just being really, really selective or just concerned. But one thing I've noticed, if you have too much worry, then you don't have any room for faith and for just trusting that everything's going to work out, even if you can't see it. But if you could feel that everything's going to work out, that should be enough for you to have faith that things will work out, okay? So overall, again, I'm not really picking up on too much activity right now. I usually don't with you guys. You guys, for the most part, seem pretty chill. Like, you have your moments, but every time I read for Aquarius, I just feel like there's really nothing to say, or you guys want me to shut the fuck up. I don't know. Like, I just kind of get a sense that, like, it's like there's nothing new under the sun with you guys. You know, you seem pretty accepting of the world and of changes in your surrounding, which is pretty cool, I think. So let's go ahead now then and pull an oracle card. So for you guys, we got number 28, luck. It is a happy day for the crow who finds fish raining from the sky. Something good is coming. Be sure to position yourself in a place that will yield the best results. Luck does not happen by accident, although it often feels that way. Luck occurs when we are in the right position at the right time, with the right skills. When luck appears, good fortune is coming, but it will be your talents that will seal the deal. Imagine being fortunate enough to be on an elevator with the person who you have been wanting to pitch an idea to. It's only luck if you are prepared and ready to articulate your vision. Otherwise, it's just another elevator ride. So that's what I have for you, Aquarius. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll catch you in the next video. Pisces, rising, moon, or sun sign. With Pisces on the ascendant, this new moon will be placed in your 8th house of rebirth, transformation, inheritance, marriage, the hidden mysteries, and personal or soul development. So for you guys, we have the 3 of Wands. So you guys seem to be fulfilling a promise or an obligation or a duty of some sort. You seem to be going on some sort of adventure here. You might even be going like above and beyond to prove something, like your worth or your dedication to another person, because we are dealing with Libra energy. We are dealing with relationships and our connections to other people. And I feel like this new moon has a lot to do with us stepping into our own power, as well as recognizing what we have to offer other people, as well as exercising that, like actually acting upon what we say we would do for someone else given the chance. Maybe we should stop waiting for the opportunity and just seize the day, is what I'm getting. And that's kind of like what the 3 of Wands is about. It is about just seizing the opportunity, acting upon our instincts as well as our own motivations, okay? Even when we lack motivation, it's still just acting out our plans and our goals because, no one else is going to do it for us. You guys just seem really focused here, really tuned in to something that I think the rest of us can't see. Like, there's something you guys are working on that it could be behind the scenes or it could be in people's faces, but like we can't see the extent of it. Like, there's something, and maybe you don't even know what that is either. So there could be something here working with you, in your favor, kind of like conspiring for you instead of against you. This is Sun and Aries energy, and so you're very determined. You're very focused on achieving your goals and fulfilling your needs and desires, as well as just, again, like following through, maybe not on like orders per se, but just following through on your obligations and your responsibilities. The next card we have is the Three of Pentacles. And so this is interesting because now we are inviting a group in. Okay, now we're working on a group project here. Okay, and so maybe there's something you have to offer to a person or a situation that can help really benefit not just them, but it could benefit the both of you. Now, we are dealing with Libra energy, so it is about what we have to offer other people. So you could be the one offering a helping hand, or you could be the one receiving a helping hand. If you don't think you need a helping hand or don't necessarily need a helping hand, I would still accept the helping hand. I mean, especially if it's in alignment with what you're doing or what you're needing it for or what you could use it for, because we want to avoid burnout. But at the same time, with this Libra energy, like, you want to allow other people to offer assistance. You want to be able to receive, okay? So that's something to think about. And maybe it's something that Pisces struggle with, is receiving, okay? And I mean, we are dealing with the 8th house. It is about what other people can do for us, but it is the sign of Libra of what can we do for other people. So maybe you have a notion that, there needs to be a fair share, give and take. Maybe you feel like you shouldn't receive anything unless you've earned it, or if you can give the same effort in return. We need to drop all that, okay? As long as you're not using other people, it's totally fine to accept more than what you can offer, because that's what they can offer and that's their unique ability. Whereas your unique ability, maybe there's something you could offer them that you have an abundance of that they don't, okay? And it can be something just completely different from the situation at hand. So that's something to really think about, and something to really like appreciate, that sometimes people, it may seem like above and beyond to you, but that's only because it would be for you to, that like those actions would be above and beyond for you, but maybe it's not for them. Like, maybe it's second nature to them. Maybe what is above and beyond is more than what they're giving you, okay? So just take that into consideration. It is a good time to welcome in any help and support if you feel it's needed. Now, of course, you might want to reject people who seem like they want to take over or tell you what to do, okay? But like, just practice discernment. Of course, if it's like a parent, they might tell you what to do. Be mindful of that. Like, sometimes people are just talk at the same time. Like, sometimes people feel like that's what they should be saying, okay? Especially as a parent, sometimes you say things because it's like, well, I should say that because I am a parent, like that's my job, right? And so sometimes, like, as a parent, we say things that are just so cringe to our kids, okay? Or same with our parents telling us, like, it's so cringe. It's like, yeah, I get it. Like, yeah, dad, because that's their obligation, right? So there's that too. Overall, I think you're still in a good place. You still want to continue on your journey that you're on, whatever that may be, and just be open to offering assistance or receiving assistance, okay? So with all that said, I think that's all that needs to be said. And so let's go ahead and pull an oracle card. But before I do that, keep in mind that this is 6 months of energy. So you may see a sneak peek of this during the Libra New Moon, and then moving forward, this could play out over 6 months. So, if somewhere down the line, this shows up in your life, take it as a sign, okay? So you might not see it all occur at one time. So for you guys, we have number 44, scavenge. So number 44, scavenge. The crow searches for anything, even the smallest crumb. Although insight may be gained and scavenging can promote brain development, the crow's attention is on an area that may not yield the greatest reward. Scavenge suggests that you may be settling for less because it is easy. Your attention may be on a situation that holds a little promise, yet at the same time, you're hoping to find some source of nourishment or value. While in between jobs or relationships, you might find that the scavenge card will appear more frequently as you jump around from one opportunity to another. Use this time to gather information and determine what you like, what you don't like, what you can and won't settle for. This card may also appear if you have been simply taking what you can get instead of directing your attention toward the steps that would lead to something more substantial. So that's what I have for you guys, Pisces. Thank you so much for watching, and I wish you all the best.